the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello, God bless America, and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps. I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As you can probably hear, it's another mobile episode. Maybe a little bit of distant thunder in the background. Sunday night, July 21st, 2024. So that's the case here. Earlier today, 8 days after the attempted assassination on Donald J. Trump, former and future president of the United States, 45 and 47, Joe Biden, the 46th president, whether legally elected or not, whether properly elected or not, we'll say, 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. So it is Kamala Harris at the moment. She's like the main candidate for the Democrats. There's still other possibilities. Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom could be a possibility. Big Mike, as some people call her, her or him, they. Michelle Obama, they, right, as people like to say with all these cute little pronouns on their email profiles everywhere. Anyhow, yep, so yes, this is another political episode. Yes, we'll get back to the more science and all that kind of stuff, science and biblical history and just biblical episodes and such. That's going to come. Obviously, there may be some biblical content in this episode as well. The blood on Trump's right ear, insanely interesting. A text by Pastor Mac Hammond of Living Word Christian Center, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, the father of Jim Hammond, who I often talk about the Final Hour podcast on here with Linnea Farrell, John Gapp, and Jerry Peterson is the, hope I'm saying the name correctly. He's the producer in the background there. Quiet guy, but yeah, John Gapp, obviously, with Linnea, those are the sidekicks for Jim Hammond, Final Hour podcast. Mac is the dad and the patriarch of Living Word Christian Center. Yes, he received a text in the nighttime from Kenneth Copeland, of all people. So, yep, we'll talk about that. And a little bit about the blood on Trump's right ear. It could be pretty biblical. So, interesting where that comes from. So, I'll play a bite later on in the episode. And, it's pretty cool stuff. And I'll kind of leave you to have your own opinions on that one. But it sounds pretty cool. So, yes, Biden, obviously, again, stepping down. Well, not stepping down. He will remain president. Again, whether legitimate or not. Yeah, I know. I know. I'm an election denier. Yeah, I'm denying that election. Yes, sure, fine. I'm crazy. I'm a kook and all that stuff. But no. Again, Like it's a political episode. I think I'm rambling over myself already. So let's read Joe Biden's letter that became public, of course. Obviously, it was written out that this is his announcement of stepping down. He'll probably have a press conference coming up during the week. I'm sure he will. Joseph R. Biden Jr., July 21st, 2024. My fellow Americans, I forgot where I am. Okay, anyhow, sorry. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. False. Next, that was the first sentence of the letter. I would disagree with that. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. False. Okay, that's 2 false statements. 2 sentences, 2 inaccuracies, in my opinion, anyway. Do you really think the economy is, do we have the greatest economy in the world? If we do, boy, the rest of the world sucks. Let me tell you. And, it kind of does, but anyhow, yeah, the economy is really taking a hit worldwide. Anyhow, we've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation. You mean trying to reshape it, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors. Well, okay, maybe. And in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. Yeah, affordable if someone else pays for it. Anyhow, it's gone up every dang year. I'm sorry, it's gone up every year, no matter who the president's been. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances. Not sure. Past the first gun safety law in 30 years. Yeah, boy, that sure is really helping in Chicago and in Butler, Pennsylvania too. It's really helping a lot. Thank you very much. Yeah, boy, your gun safety is it's wonderful. Well, the bad guys get the guns, the good guys don't. Sounds about right. Sounds about what the British would have liked back in 1776. Okay, appointed the first African American woman to the Supreme Court. Oh boy, yeah, the first radical ultra left African American. Hopefully we can do better. Yeah, I think there's a lot better African American women that could have gone to the Supreme Court than the one he picked. Okay, anyhow, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. No comment. America has never been positioned to lead than we are today. Again, no comment on that one. Yeah, I mean, we could comment all night. It might take me 5 hours to read the letter if I really go into detail. Anyhow, I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Yeah, and the alive or dead, too, right? The alive and dead American people that voted for him, and ones that are not from the United States legally, or that are not in the United States legally also. You forgot to mention that part. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. You mean you helped create the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression by shutting down pipelines and, you could go on all day and all the different ideas, all these climate change laws you're passing are actually helping create the economic crisis and inflation and such, and your overreaction to the pandemic as well did not help anything. It actually created the economic crisis. Thank you very much. Or at least it certainly helped push it in the wrong direction, because I think under Trump, things were doing pretty good economically here. Anyhow, we've protected and preserved our democracy. It's actually a republic, but thank you. Constitutional republic. As we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. Especially with Russia, right? Boy, you've really fixed that one. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. Okay, I'm sure you've been happy to be in that position. So, yes. And I can't disagree with him on that one. I'm sure he is happy to be there. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party. Yeah, that's all it really is all about, isn't it? And the country, for me, you mean the deep state, for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. Yep, the single term. Still a bit to go here. Not too much left. We're more than halfway. But, interesting. It is really all about the party and the deep state, though. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. legal and illegal, right? Alive and the ones that passed away in 1850 also. Those houses that don't exist anymore, where there were addresses that were there once upon a time. Like ghosts voted for Biden in 2020. Ghosts. Lots of ghosts voted for Biden. A lot of pets, dead pets, also voted for Biden. My cat Chloe, who died in 2007 of old age, well, kind of old age, getting up there in age, could have voted for Biden in this past election, the way things were set up. Anyhow, or at least that's what they'd like to believe. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. I'm sure she's been extraordinary. Okay, sorry. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you placed in me. Well, yeah, the people that will vote Democrat until they die, I guess. That's the kind of attitude, I guess those people did. I believe today, what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do, like also put in a president with false votes. Oh, when we do it together. Yes, you did that together, didn't you, with false votes, didn't you? You guys stuck together and got all that in. You did it. At least you got 4 years out of it. We have to remember we are the United States of America. That is the most accurate statement in the entire letter. We just have to remember we are the United States of America. And yes, we need to make America great again. Joe Biden. Thank you. Joe Biden. Joseph R. Biden Jr. Okay, so that was the most accurate statement of that letter. Sorry, I know you might think I'm not trying to be a jackass at all. It's just I'm kind of analyzing and putting things together here with that letter. So Donald J. Trump, the one we'd like to believe is the 47th president of the United States, a la Grover Cleveland many years ago, who was president for 4 years, and then unfortunately lost. Again, legally, illegally, who knows, but in this one, I don't know. And then came back, Grover Cleveland became president again. So he was the only other president to have done that in the history of the United States, presidential history. So let's see if we can, dang it. Let's see if we can see, I could get, I apologize, just give me 1 second here, but nope, it's all about, I think that's all I probably need to type in. Because the odds are that, Trump, that it's going to be Kamala Harris now. So, Trump, where did it start? Trump's response. Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. All of those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't. He went on to bring up some of his... okay, now this is ABC News. The other one was PBS. Okay, so yes, say what you want about those news outlets, but I'm just reading the letters and the quotes here. I'm not reading much what they're having to say because we all know where they stand. Anyhow, they're not on Trump's side, believe me. Next... Yes, they're like he's slamming Biden. Okay, we will suffer greatly because of his presidency, but we will remedy the damage he has done very quickly, make America great again. At the start of the statement, Trump also called Biden the worst president by far in the history of our nation. The former president's campaign immediately began a new fundraising push following Biden's announcement, writing, "But right now, he just quit the race in complete disgrace." Complete the race in complete disgrace. So that rhymed somehow. Okay, let's read what Mike Johnson had to say, regardless of how you feel about him. He wrote on X, again formerly known as Twitter, "At this unprecedented juncture in American history, we must be clear about what just happened. The Democratic Party forced the Democrat nominee off the ballot just over 100 days before the election. He also called for Biden to resign. If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he is not fit to serve as president. He must resign the office immediately. November 5th cannot arrive soon enough." So, all right. Interesting for sure. So PBS and ABC, two They've been obviously national channels forever and news outlets forever. Again, unfortunately, everybody's left-leaning. Even Fox kind of is a lot of times, but not everybody. There's at least some conservative presence on Fox, unlike other stations. There's like bits and pieces, like guests and such here and there. I remember Larry Kudlow used to be on, what was it called? And Larry Kudlow is a good guy, good conservative. He was on, the heck is it called? CNBC? I think that's that's the one where they, it's the NBC where they keep up with the, business and such. So my overall thoughts, I don't think either Biden or Trump came out really looking all too great, honestly, with the responses here. Obviously, the letter, just a lot of BS. I mean, I responded to it enough and probably pounded it into the ground a bit. Trump, I mean, maybe a little too harsh, maybe a little too soon to be, kicking him when he's down. The minute the guy announces he's not going to be, he's going to end his, he's going to drop out of the race is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. He's no longer your opponent, so you don't really need to beat him up so much. No, I know. I understand in a lot of ways you are pretty much running against Joe Biden's presidency. Like, we can do better than this. I get that, but maybe you don't need to trash him quite so much at this split second. I don't know. As for Biden calling Trump on the phone for a brief conversation last week, later in the day after the assassination attempt, I have no idea what was said between the two. I would like to believe that Joe Biden gave him some well wishes and such. I would like to believe he did. So it's like you're hoping that there can be some kind of, I don't know, humanity between the two about the whole thing. And it's just crazy to think about what happened in the last 8 days. Trump was probably less than an inch from death. And Joe Biden is at least the second president in recent history to step, Nixon, okay, no, it's incorrect. He's just not running for re-election. Pardon me. So that's incorrect. I keep thinking Biden stepped down as president, but he did not. It's like my mindset's thinking that way. But it is kind of it's extremely rare that a president would decide to not run for re-election. I mean, really, 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 really rare. So it's still a historical moment here, regardless. I remember Jesse Ventura years ago, Reform Party kind of libertarian who basically he was the kind of libertarian that hated Republicans and conservatism and ultimately would vote Democrat as the lesser of two evils most of the time, even though he had lots of libertarian values, which are okay. I don't agree with, I'm 50-50 on libertarian values. I mean, just because I'm not a libertarian doesn't mean I'm an authoritarian. See, libertarian is kind of do anything, do whatever you want, smoke crack in the street. I don't think so. That kind of stuff. So I don't know. Smoke crack on the street and have sex too while you're at it, regardless if it's, same sex or not. I don't agree with that stuff. I'm sorry. That does not make me an authoritarian or wanting government control on everything. No. I think Democrats are actually, in a lot of ways, a real libertarian would be at least a moderate conservative. So it's kind of weird. I'm not sure where Jesse Ventura's mindset it really is as a libertarian to be every single election he ends up voting Democrat at the lesser of two evils. Gary Johnson was definitely more liberal than he was conservative. He was the last candidate for the Libertarian Party that kind of sort of was a factor in the election. That was years ago, I believe 2016. And I don't know, that was about, and I think in a lot of ways, the death of any hope of the Libertarian Party ever really becoming a major party in the United States, presidential races. So that's kind of my point of view on that. As for all of this, so the blood on Trump's right ear, Mac Hammond, Living Word Christian Center, Sunday morning, July 21st. Take it away, Mac.
Or I should say a thing, something that I want you to hear. Most of you know that Kenneth Copeland is a spiritual father to me, but he's also been a longtime friend. I got a text from him last night. I'd gone to bed early, so I didn't see it until this morning. But I typically go to bed early because I get up at about 5. And then what happened this morning, I worried about getting up at 5, so I might as well, I stayed awake from 2 on. Have you ever done that? The alarm's going to go off and you know it, and so whatever. But I got up to this text from Kenneth, and it blessed my heart. He said, you're going to love this, Mac. In the Bible, the concept of blood on the right ear in Leviticus 8:22 and 14:28 serves as a visible mark of consecration, signifying that the person is dedicated to God's service and has been set apart for a specific purpose. This act represents a physical and spiritual transformation, preparing the individual for their sacred role. Here's a breakdown of the significance. Right ear. The right ear represents hearing and obedience. In ancient times, the right ear was considered the most important ear, as it was the ear that heard the word of God. Blood represents life, sacrifice, and atonement. In this context, the blood is a symbol of purification and consecration. Consecration means to set something or someone apart for a specific purpose, making it holy and dedicated to God. In this case, the blood on the right ear signifies that the person is being set apart for a sacred task or role. Priestly consecration in Leviticus 8, the blood is applied to the right ear of Aaron and his sons, consecrating them as priests. This act sets them apart as mediators between God and the people. Purification in Leviticus 14, the blood is applied to the right ear of the person being cleansed, symbolizing their purification and restoration to the community. God bless America for daily prayer and encouragement. Isn't that cool? Amen.
Somebody being prepared for God's sacred plan. Interesting. That's just obviously a minor part of it. And again, I'll let you take that as is. I'm not going to overanalyze it. I think Mac did a good enough job conversating or, saying what he was going to say about it. And of course, Kenneth Copeland as well. So I'm not going to run over it over and over again. But again, pretty interesting. Again, definitely a miracle. It had JFK written all over it, what took place on July 13th, 2024. Absolutely crazy Saturday evening, basically early evening, late afternoon type of deal where, gunshots sound like fireworks, don't they? It sounded kind of like fireworks, and then it's not fireworks. It's like, pop, like a pop kind of. It's just absolutely crazy what took place. So we could go and pretty crazy here as well. Again, a president didn't step down, but announced that he is dropping out of the presidential race. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And this is July. This isn't like July of 23. Imagine the year before. I'm not going to run for re-election. It usually is around that time, isn't it? It's kind of July, October, November-ish the year before. Usually when a president's like, the incumbent president either is going to go for re-election, which is, again, about 99% of the time, or they decide not to. Again, like I said, Jesse Ventura years ago, after being elected governor of Minnesota in 98, it was kind of fun and exciting and fresh and new, especially versus a Skip Humphrey. Yuck. I don't think anybody, it's crazy that they finished third. That was funny. Like back then, Minnesota, there was at least a chance for this place. You elected Jesse Ventura, and then you had 8 years of Tim Pawlenty, who was, I thought he was a good conservative, but in hindsight, he's more of a Bush. So that kind of sucks. But I didn't know better, dang it. So a lot of us didn't know better back then. Some of you did, and bless all of you. We were, unfortunately, most of us were neocons like Bush. I would consider myself very much a staunch paleo conservative who is not looking to, go into other countries and kind of join the New World Order and all that such, or go to war and knock this person out by, regime change and going into war and invading other countries and such. I don't know. I just, so these big companies, like that work with Dick Cheney or God knows who else, can make billions and billions, or as Trump would say, billions and billions of dollars with these government contracts and such with the military. It's so evil, it's not even funny. Like, I don't know, who cares if like 10,000 people die? We made billions. Happens. That's how it works. Oh, hey, all these other people came out okay. They got a nice job in the military and such. Come on. Got to break a couple eggs to make an omelet, Sounds like communism to me. Not conservatism at all. That's kind of a communism talk. Communists talk, pardon me. Break a couple eggs to make an omelet. Evil Knievel. Okay, sorry. Well, it's evil. Evil Knievel. Yeah, that's basically what we're doing. Well, when we try to police the whole world and such. It's like at first you think, okay, we're the good guys. Are we though? If you're policing the world, maybe you're not the good guys. Maybe it doesn't help that much. As bad as Saddam Hussein was, as evil as Saddam Hussein was, in hindsight, and I know it's 2020, is Iraq better today? Is it? I don't know. I don't know. It kind of got taken over by terrorists, didn't it? Pretty much. Kind of did. Yeah, that was kind of bad. That was terrible. And, I don't know. And Iran, obviously, I don't know what to say about that either. Obviously, I'm not a big fan, let me tell you. Not a big fan of the mullahs of Iran. But maybe I'll just shut my mouth here. I'm not really here to talk about the mullahs of Iran right now. Not really a big fan, though, of how they're handling things over there, for sure. It's definitely frightening. As for, I don't know, again, the whole election going forward, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be historic. Got to think Trump should be an absolutely heavy favorite. Even Dan Barrero locally, who is a flaming liberal, used to be almost moderate conservative, but it seemed like every stinking election, even going back to Walter frickin' Mondale, he'd always vote Democrat every single time, even though he had conservative views on a lot of things, but he'd always vote Democrat. It was annoying, and it kind of tells you where his heart really always has been the whole time. But even he said after that assassination attempt, and obviously Trump, Barrero, obviously, there's no chance he'd ever vote for Trump, and he tells us about 300 times every show, so it's really annoying. That is Trump a virtual lock now to be president of the United States, even if Joe Biden drops out of the election race or drops out of the presidential race, is Donald Trump a lock? And it seemed like him and his producer co-host. Why am I blanking on his name? Guardsy. That's his nickname. Justin Guard, pardon me. Now it came back to me. Yeah, I mean, I met the guy. He was a good guy, Justin Guard, who used to be a Republican, but unfortunately, I think he was more of he was much more of a Bush Republican, Bush McCain Republican. And he's just gone complete opposite as well. It's bull crap. But it seemed like both of them kind of agree that it's a virtual lock that Trump will be president. There's a bat flying around out here, but I guess that should be expected. It's dark out as I'm recording this outside. Yeah, being mobile and such. It's a nice night, but yeah, the bats are out and they're catching mosquitoes, hopefully. That's definitely a contribution. We appreciate it very much, actually. So thank you to the bats for doing that. Catch those mosquitoes for us. There's a lot this year with all the rain and such. The rain's been everywhere, basically. But hopefully again, that's a very positive sign that it can go from a possible assassination of Trump. And just imagine, crazy to think about. Could you imagine if neither candidate was able to run anymore? Like, say, Trump got killed and then Joe Biden drops out of the election. What would it have been like? I mean, it would have been the weirdest, craziest thing ever. Just imagine what episode this would have been today. You know how Back to the Future and timelines and all that cute stuff. Just imagine, how weird this episode would be right now. If I was talking about, it's like starting over almost in a way. Almost. Let's just start the primaries over. What the heck? Have a couple of quick primary debates. Maybe 2 or 3 candidates going at each other. Okay, fine. Kamala Harris, I guess. Okay, well, totally fine, though, for us, because Kamala Harris, she wasn't ever really a legitimate presidential candidate. And on the Republican side, who would it be? I mean, I don't know. Maybe DeSantis, I guess. I don't think Vance is a presidential candidate right now. Possibly in 4 years with vice president experience, you betcha. You betcha he should be a candidate. But I guess could you imagine? What if it was DeSantis versus Harris? I think Ron DeSantis, let's go. But the circumstances would have been devastating and horrifying and sad. But wouldn't that be weird, though? Wouldn't that be weird? Just think about that, like an inch. God is good. God is very good. And God is also good that there's possible good candidates coming forward as well. So it's going to be interesting. Vance, DeSantis, Vivek. Possibly some other good ones coming up as well. So we'll see how this turns out. And I know God is not a Republican and he's not a Democrat and da-da-da. I know. But, certain candidates I got to think, stand on God's word, and the other side doesn't seem to give diddly whatever, diddly squat. Even if they carry a rosary around or something like Biden or whoever her name is, Nancy Pelosi. I don't know. It looks more like black magic to me, carrying around like I don't know. I shouldn't talk like that. But when it comes to them, you betcha. So with that said, I think I better stay out of this rabbit hole and not get my head beaten in by some of you listening to me right now. So I apologize. I don't know. With that said, I just want to thank all of you for listening. Please tell your friends about the show. Consider giving a donation as low as 99 cents. There's a link in the show description where it says just support the show. 99 cents. I could use your help. The show could use your help. I think the quality of the show would improve. Yes, obviously the microphone needs repair or replace, that type of thing. Maybe it could become an emergency backup in the future. The microphone that's banged up, that's all I have. And, obviously there's other things, other ways to possibly enhance the show with some donations. That would really help a lot. It can help build the research and such. And also, again, maybe get to a point where I can be able to release the show more often, with more support out there. I may be able to have more time to release the show more often. That's kind of, in a lot of ways, one of the main things. A lot of people talk about that. It'd be great. If I ever do a quote-unquote paywall, it wouldn't be an actual paywall. It would just be like bonus stuff. Like, what was it called? Like Forest something. I can't remember. I made a logo for it a while back. Like freedom of thought, like forest something. I can't remember what it was. I apologize. I probably don't have the logo up or anything. It was a while back, like in the spring, early spring, I think. Oh, here, I found it. I can't believe it. Forest Adventures, Freedom of Thought Forest Adventures. I might do something like that. Or maybe those would be like an added bonus if it was like a $1.99 a month or something. Like I wouldn't be like $7 a month like other people. If I ever did that, it would be like $1.99 and you get to have Forest Adventures. And $1.99 a month if I ever do it. So maybe it's a good idea, maybe it isn't, but it's just a thought. It's a thought, and that's why this is called Freedom of Thought. With that said, thank you so much for listening. Please tell your friends about the show. I don't know if there's any comments on the Facebook page. I'll check it out real quick. And again, I've heard nothing but good about the logo, the new logo that was created. That one's kind of a foresty look, but it's more like, and kind of, I'm actually very proud of that logo. I think it's pretty cool. It looks like there's no comments, which is fine. It is what it is. The Instagram, so facebook.com/freedom of thought 1776. Instagram is out there. I'm doing a Joe Biden right now. No, I think I have an Instagram for it, but I don't know. I think I have it. Wait. Okay, sorry. Giants of Ancient America. Yep, I like being able to see. That looks like an article from 1883. Ooh. Again, I'd like to have the creator there of that on this show. I think that'd be awesome. The creator of that official thing. Any comments? Mostly just likes, so that's okay. And I think I got behind a bit as well. So my apologies. Got a little bit behind posting stuff on the Instagram. It's freedom_of_thought 1776. So with that said, I'll stop my babble, my ramble, and wish all of you a wonderful week or so leading into the next episode. And they could happen even on weeknights. I would do that sometimes after work, record, and that's partially where this was born, the mobile episodes. So, well, until next time, take care, God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.